What's up, everybody? Greg Chapman here with Dominique and our favorite Ryan Rosas. Rosas, right?
Yeah, Rosas.
He is a freelance content creator and surfboard maker in the making.
Yeah.
What's up,
Aspiring
buddy?
master
Aspiring
surfboard
master
maker.
surfboard
I just call him the
maker.
wizard. I just met him, but I just realized he's got like wizard powers. He done fixed a few things here already, helped us out, get the camera straight.
Hopefully this audio sounds crispy, right?
Hey, it's about to be the best. If this is the best audio you check out my man right here.
Like, comment,
Like,
subscribe.
comment, subscribe
You know
right
what I mean?
now. Because apparently this is going to be the crispiest podcast we have because he came here just to make sure.
I'm
So,
just going to get your gain down, bro.
oh, you already know I'll be gaining. You need to chill that out.
Gained
I
up.
hope I didn't blow you guys a speaker already.
Right.
You're talking super loud.
So, anyways, Ryan, can you tell the people a little bit about yourself, kind of what you do in the photography, videography world, and then kind of why you got into making surfboards recently?
Yeah, I think the easiest way would be like a condensed version of the last 10 years, probably quick, like a 4-minute condensed version or something.
Okay.
So, I've always shot photos since I was a really young, probably like 6 years old, just for fun.
Yeah.
And didn't really ever get trained to do that, but I don't know. Are you guys from San Diego? Because if you're from San Diego, you might remember Wave House. in
I
Mission
remember
Beach.
Wave Health, of course.
Okay.
Wave House.
Wave House was turned. So I used to compete on that thing professionally, and I got sent out to South Africa in 2011 for a competition.
Okay.
And I got injured. Blew out my shoulder, dislocated it, like went over the falls, fucked myself up. It was all bad. But they sent us with a bunch of camera gear, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna shoot videos and photos of this whole event and try to make my time here
Worth
like
something.
valuable for the people who
Yeah.
sent me out there to compete, you know?
Exactly.
So I started making content and kind of fell back in love with using the camera. And I was really injured to the point where I couldn't surf or really do much with my
Yeah.
arms. So that's what I picked that up and then did that. Met this chick. She made me get a big boy job. went into, cause she's like, you can't be like getting money a day before rent's due to pay rent. I'm like, if it's paid on time, why not? You know?
See,
And I'm like,
see, y'all be killing dreams
you know
out
what
there.
I
Don't
mean?
even
Hey,
know it,
don't
man.
trip though. I'm strong. These dreams are strong, bro. I broke free. You know what I mean?
Got
So-
you.
So,
Feel
hey,
it.
but
I
everything
feel it.
happens for a reason, though,
Personal.
right? Everything happens for a reason. So, met her, got a job in marketing. Actually,
Okay.
Craigslist. I made my job getting a job. I was like 9, and she actually told me that she's like, if you want to get a job, you need to make it your job. Like 9 to 5, be looking for a job till you get a job. I was like, that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Just browsing, found some video marketing intern, clicked it. Dude hit me up like 20 minutes later. Hey, why don't you come in? Ended up getting hired to do video marketing and photography, like product images for
Okay.
Yeah.
a print shop. So it was like banners, stickers, custom, anything, like custom labels, doesn't matter. Anything you can print, we were making all
Yeah.
that stuff. So I did a bunch of that and then got burnt out on it. Went to
As I can imagine.
went to a marketing conference, saw Gary Vee speak,
Yes.
Yeah.
and quit my job the next day after seeing him speak to start doing content full time. I did that for like 3.5, 4 years, from pretty much nothing to working with like Honda, Monster Energy, Walmart, and a bunch of different big companies, and then that got really boring too. It just got like too stressful. So now me and my dad started a surfboard company, and now we're here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
Let's
loopholes, there's a
go.
lot of holes, but
Yeah, I got you. Hey, definitely.
Damn, that's awesome. Yeah, fuck. I remember I randomly hit you up on Instagram because I was like parked out front of the grocery store, and then you were parked there. I don't even remember what this car sticker was. It was like, I shoot shit or something.
Yes.
like that.
content is king.
Content is king, yeah.
Yes.
And it
Content
was
is
like
king.
a week
I
after
remember
me
you
and
talking
him,
about that.
It was our first podcast we did in another studio, like last July or August.
Yeah.
And we were just talking to somebody who does podcasts here as well. His name's Wade.
I don't know Wade's last name.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
he's
Wade,
got a
for that. I
podcast
appreciate
studio
you out there.
up in like Sereno Valley, Miramar area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like full on, like professional, like they're part of a radio station.
Oh, sick.
So we were on there, and I've been doing like content systems and shit for a while, just because like the last few years of Instagram was basically like just make all the content that you can, like high quality, but you need quantity over quality more than anything.
Right.
Because the average quality of like camera equipment is so high now, like you can use a cell phone. So it's like, all right, implementing systems so you can create those 60 to 100 pieces of content that you need a month.
Right.
Because hiring photographers and videographers traditionally, like your average business can't afford that kind of shit.
Right.
So and it turns out it's kind of a popular phrase, content is king. But
Yeah.
then this guy was talking. He's like, no. Content's queen. Context is king.
Context is kind of king too, for
Yeah,
sure.
we threw us off
Yeah.
because we were kind of like, we're like contest king because we were saying it, and he goes no, and he's this old school like he's like that professor that just drops wisdom on you for
Yeah.
hours. Like he's just been in the industry for so long, creating content, written content, voice content, stuff like that, and he was just like, the reason why you do the video is more important than the
I
video
agree.
itself. And I was like,
Yeah, I agree 100%.
what?
Maybe I should just put great content is king.
And we're sitting there just like, wow, that kind of just blows our mind. Like, we're all deep into content. We're creating content all day, and we're right. Like, the reason why we create the content is super important to us because why we create the content is why we have the content. Who's the content going to? What is it going to say to them when the content gets there? And before all that happens, then you create the content. And we're like, right, the context of why we created is king. And I was like, damn.
It's
right.
so cool that you say that because when I talk to clients that hire me to be lead on, say, an ad campaign or something and
Yeah.
to do all, write up the budget and,
Yeah.
and get everything dialed in, hire the team and stuff, my main concerns are those questions you just asked. Okay, whose eyes are these for? What do those people like? What are they engaging with? What kind of content is actually getting them to take action? Not that they're just like, oh, this is sick, like, comment, like, what content's actually pushing them through onto your page, making sales, like, and why is that content doing that,
This is my guy right
Because
now.
if you can, dude, the thing is everybody overthinks it, and specifically companies too. Like, if you're trying to sell a lighter or a grinder or whatever the fuck it is, like, people are always like, oh, we just want to like focus on this, but nobody cares about your stupid lighter, bro. Like, I just need this thing to light my joint or my cigarette or whatever. But like, if you can make a cool piece of content that relates to my lifestyle, or you know what I mean? Maybe if you get somebody lighting a joint or like something that I'm like, I could watch this for 15 seconds or 30 seconds instead of trying to show me a cool.
Look
Look at this
Look at the
lighter.
features. That's
Yeah,
what
like, you know what I mean?
Look at the
So-
feature. Look, here's
So,
the 5 points
I
of the
think-
feature.
I think that's
Nobody
rad
cares.
that you said that
Yeah.
because it's starting to become more
Well-
common practice to think that way.
So we got to give shout out to Wade, man. I appreciate it. If you're watching this episode, you're the reason why we even do podcasts this hard, to be honest.
Shout out Wade.
Shout out Wade, my guy. I hope you're out there killing it. We're going to definitely have some
Yeah, this
business
is
this
number,
upcoming
like,
week.
28 or 30
Yeah,
this
and
year.
he's the first person to ever talk about podcasts. So
Fuck
we
yeah.
sat down, we talked to him about podcasts. He did our first podcast there that night after talking to him.
He
Oh,
taught us about
sick.
breaking down long form content
Exactly.
into like a whole bunch. So like even
Repurposing.
before like Gary Vee put out his like make 106 pieces of content or
Yeah.
whatever thing, like we were already like on that train
Yeah.
because of what he said. He's like, yeah, I take these podcasts, and then he does it just like automatically. Like he doesn't go out and pull out the conversations, but
Right.
he's like, I take it like an hour podcast, turn it into 2 30-minute segments, like 4 15-minute segments,
Yep.
and what is it?
Transcribe it probably.
Yeah, a bunch of 5-minute segments,
Yeah.
a bunch of 30-second segments. So before you know it, you have a fuck ton of content clips.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's brilliant.
Exactly.
And then, it's like now it's like, all right, so we can take these, and then we do it more intentionally, like pulling out conversational clips that like
Yeah.
we can actually write copy
Right.
around.
Yeah.
But then, so then we can write blogs around that copy. So we can take like 3 minutes from a podcast. Like this one, we can take this content as king section.
Right.
It's like probably a 7-minute segment. And then put it up on the blog and then write 500 words about that.
Right.
And then boom, we have a video and text blog, massive SEO boost.
Correct.
And then
Text specifically too, because it's so good.
Yo, let me tell you, if you guys are listening to the podcast, he just plugged you into some shit that you should really pay attention to, which is one,
Yeah.
create your content, rewrite it in SEO Hub, blog content, and post it both. Because one, the video gets ranked out there because it's people are watching it, and it does show on Google that it's an external link from your website. Also gives your website ranking. You are able to create the written and the video form in one platform. It's pretty powerful.
And being able to drop that dialogue on there that you've transcribed. So whatever
Correct.
keywords we're using or
Mhm.
topics that we're talking about throughout this conversation are going to help boost Google
Exactly.
serving you. It's going to your FASHA score or whatever. So it's
Oh,
important, and
yeah.
it's important to have text that's written or spoken by a human. Like because I can write ad copy that's specifically meant for keywords, but like a conversation is much more powerful.
Very
So-
true.
yeah,
Very true.
I mean, it's the conversation factor. I think that the reason why the podcast format and like the open discussion format is coming back so strong is because we're coming off the high of social media, like just finding like what it truly is, which is just
Right.
like evil,
Coming at you
manipulative,
at
leading,
every point in time.
and people like now recognize that, and so now people are really searching to find real, truthful connections,
100%.
like
True.
actually get to know people, because
Things that
everything,
resonate with them or whatever.
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like.
very
because
true.
everything that they see is fucking just scripted and intentional,
Yeah.
and then so coming back to this long form
Very true.
content format, it's way more inviting and accepting to people.
I like it too, though. I think it's rad because then you get things that are more aligned with what you're looking for.
Very
you know?
true. Very true.
Kind of like, I don't know, it did it to itself. It's like we got so good at marketing that we figured out that marketing should just be done like you build a relationship with your friend.
Right?
You know?
True.
It's like, oh, you're rad. You're rad. I like what you do. I might be able to help you. You might be able to help me. We should do this together. Maybe we can meet
Exactly.
some other
What's
people.
Exactly.
You
the
know?
Chinese word for that type of business model? Is
Kiratsu,
Kiratsu? Yeah. It's,
something like that.
it's
So,
like a business style.
so it's kind of like my business model is to, like, our goal over the next 10-ish years is to take small amounts of equity in 500 companies.
Okay.
And basically, we're creating. So we're a small business development center, right? So we put together all of the tools and resources. Yes.
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 Shout out to King Palm.
King
Yeah,
Palm.
King
for
Palm,
the
shout out to
palm
you guys.
rolling papers.
Appreciate you for
Yeah.
joining
So
Cannabis
tasty.
Synergy that
This is
you guys
actually the
partnered
only
with.
second time I've had one of these, but the first time I had one, shout out to my boy Luis. They were supers. I was like, fuck, that's fire.
I'll give you a couple before you leave because we got like
Sure.
a full pack in the bag. So.
Hell yeah.
Shout out Palm guys. Hey, make sure you guys get us the the baggies too because we trying to get them.
Right. So Kiratsu, right?
Yeah.
So, so we're basically building a company where we can be valuable to as many companies as possible, just by providing solutions for all the basic shit that they need. So building systems around basic marketing, like who do we outsource to that's going to do all the social media posting?
Right.
That's going to just like every day, like it's going to be reliable. Who do we have that's doing the paid ads or the content creation? How do we make sure that our photographers and our videographers are good?
Right.
We'll do shit on time. So like kind of taking all those pieces and putting them under one house.
Yeah.
So it can help. But then so kind of it's almost like an incestual business model though, because like when we give equity, like they get a little bit of stock.
Right.
And so we were kind of like trying to make all of these people that we work with like partner together.
Work together.
And then so it turns out there's an actual term for that, and it's something like Kiratsu,
Okay.
where all of the big Japanese companies practice it. So like Honda, Samsung, everything, and they share resources
Yep.
because they all have small pieces of each other's companies. So it makes it more group beneficial for them to. So all the power players will get together and be like, "Hey guys, like we need this kind of technology to make this work. Do any of you guys have
Right.
something?" Like, and they'll be like, "Yeah." And because they own whatever percentage of that company, it benefits them to give them that technology or that workforce that knows how to do what they need.
Right. I think that's super smart, and I think that moving forward too, even just in our economy or even in privately owned small businesses, and we're already seeing this. There's going to be a lot more co-branding and stuff because
yeah.
people are, and across
You're
like
good.
across industries too, though, not just
Exactly.
like co-branding marketing to marketing company, but co-branding across industries from, action sports to. Fuck, I couldn't even think of a good example. Just something complete opposite of
we
that.
just saw the kind of thing that the 10X threw. You know what I mean? He had musicians up there,
Yeah.
comedians. You know what I mean? Old school basketball players, all in the
Who's
business world
who's
of
the
10X.
little short guy? Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart.
Like,
He brought
Kevin Hart was at 10X.
Yeah.
Like,
He had one of the best diverse speaking engagements I've ever seen, and the funny part is he talks about where he got it from because Gary Vee talked about there being events thrown with multi-style diversity speakers, and they created that with multiple different people coming from all different walks of life.
I think it's important though because, like you were saying, you have all these big players in certain industries, or not even big players if you take it down to the smaller level.
Yeah,
But
true.
you just realize, like a quote that I like that Gary says a lot is, "You don't build the biggest building in town by tearing everybody else's down." That's one of my favorite things, and like something that rings true for me. I've gone farther by helping people than trying to just help myself.
Very
You know what I mean?
true.
Like the more that I help other people, the more my goals, dreams, aspirations are more easily
Exactly.
attained. So
yeah.
I just continue with that. It seems like a good model.
Right. I explain that
I agree.
as because I've been building this like around like
We approve
when
this
you make everyone around you successful before yourself, like your rise is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I explain it like So like you've dug dirt before, right?
Yeah.
So you take a shovelful, you put it on the mound. Like what happens? Like it doesn't all stay on the top. Trickles down to the side, gets wider before it gets taller.
Right.
So I imagine it your business success or life success as building like a ring of dirt around you, and you're in the middle. So every time you help somebody, you're going outside the ring, bringing in a shovelful, and so this ring is getting taller, and you're in the middle. And you'll always be lower than the ring, but your success becomes inevitable.
Right, because you're going to start building up by
the dirt's always going to be falling down.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, dude.
That's
What
pretty
I always
good
tell
analogy.
people, because I like to just talk shit to people in a funny way, but I'm always like, dude, I need you to win. So when I'm broken on crack in 10 years and I ask you for a rack, you give me the money.
Yeah. I need you to
And
be.
you don't question it because I didn't put in so much work
And
for
I
you.
helped you.
And I helped you.
Remember what I did for you.
I better not have a day where I ain't got a house, home, and food because of how many people I put on. That's how I think about it. There better not be a day where I'm like, I can't.
Should that day come.
Should that day come? It
Right.
won't come. But if it does, I want to be like, I put so many people on.
See, the nice thing.
There's no question that I have
Right.
a place to sleep at any point in time. in my
The
life.
nice thing is, though, that if you go around doing that and building up everybody around you, you're going to have such a good support group that they're not going to let your dumb ass fall
That's
off.
what I'm
the
saying.
deep
Oh,
end like
see,
that.
that's part of my analogy. I forgot
You
actually.
know what I mean?
So
Slip,
when
you know
you
what I'm saying?
build by yourself, you got to imagine it like a stack of bricks, like end on end. You get really high, really fast.
Yeah.
But anything come along, knock it down. You got to
Yeah,
start
right,
over.
the base.
But if something comes at your ring of dirt, like knocks out a portion of it, what happens? It collapses on itself and fills itself in.
It's fine.
Like,
You're good.
That's the community mindset. Like you're
Yeah,
protected.
definitely.
Yeah.
Like long term, you might lose 25% of your wealth, but you still got 75% versus
Yeah.
having to start over.
And a system to help you get back up,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So.
That support system, man. That network is key.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
going back to what you were saying, I think
Key.
that's super important. Is to surround yourself with other people that are running businesses or even offering services or whatever it is
Very
that
true.
you can either do trades or you're offering stuff for
Yeah.
whatever it's smaller, cheaper prices.
mean,
One thing
whatever,
I do
but
know is I am a person who truly believes in bartering your business.
100%.
Like, if you don't understand back in the day why people were so much more wealthy is because they would trade for trade skills. So a lot of transfers
Yeah,
of money
it
came
was-
with traded of skills. Commoditizing money really actually created less value for one trade to another by putting a value like term on it rather than one favor for another. They're talking about how many people would all village together to build a house because you helped somebody build something else. Right? Like the project may be bigger, but you still got to change the value. Now when you put a dollar sign on it, that value creates an up and down rather than just a gift to a gift.
Yeah, I was reading
Right.
something. I don't
You know?
remember which company it started with, but it was only like in the last 100 years they started putting price tags on things. Like we've always had money, but up until about 100 years ago, like there were never set prices.
Right.
So like
It's like
they
what-
might
what
say
you can
like this
do.
is like $5 or rubles or whatever.
Yeah.
But
can
then it's like
negotiate.
negotiation because there were never set prices.
She's like,
Yeah.
I got 2 gold coins and a goat, you know?
Yeah.
What's up?
God, I
You
need
trying
to
to trade some
I need to
commodities?
remember what company that was because it was really interesting, like why they did it, and that just set the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, to me, those were just like, that's like the perfect bid that we're gonna have now, and the entrepreneur is going to become a trade and barter. Like I trade for food for businesses, I trade for services, I trade for education.
I do a
Want to
lot.
know why? Because they're all valuable, and I have a skill, and if that skill may not be able to be transferred in dollars, building positive relationships between that and people is just totally worth it.
Right.
Because it's like, man, if you actually show up and you do it, which I call is like the place of doers. Doers find other doers, and they continuously do a bunch of cool shit together. I'll tell you that right now. If you start doing some shit, someone pops in because they're a doer. They're like, I see what he's doing,
Yeah.
so let me do it too.
Right.
Like,
You got to be careful though, because there's some fucking energy leeches out there too.
Oh yeah.
You got to be, but sometimes it's good to
That's
give into
true.
that.
We've experienced them.
when you realize those people were never doing, they were always doing something with someone else.
Sometimes you need them though, because sometimes energy leeches are like, sometimes they're good hype men for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like small bursts or something. But
Small bursts, a little,
but yeah, just be on the lookout.
little hype time. Watch out for those.
Watch out
ones.
for motives. You
Hey,
know?
but listen, what I would always say is remember this. When they come in, I would say invite more in than you don't. Because people will show themselves pretty quickly if you allow them to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But don't
Yeah,
not
they'll
let people
exploit
in because you'll
themselves.
lose multiple times that
And you
people
never
are
know who
good.
you're sitting next to, dude. There's been a lot of
True that.
like I'm pretty good at judging books by their cover, but
Yeah.
you can't do that all the time.
Uh-uh.
Like
Far from
I'm
that.
good at and more than judging a book
There's a
by
lot
a
of good
cover
cover
than like
artists out
how
there.
you dress or anything
Yeah.
like that. I go based more on an energy thing. Like
Yeah.
I can feel your vibes. I kind of grew up in the ghetto where you need to know somebody's motives pretty quickly, or else
Hey.
you might get stabbed or robbed or
You could
something
lose
serious.
something real
You
quick.
know,
Yeah.
other than like just like had a bad time with somebody. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly.
So like in
He was so mean
yeah,
to me.
exactly.
Nah,
like
you could have got murdered. That was
Yeah,
my
so
gamble was, right?
You just
there.
gotta get good at reading people and seeing their motives, and then you find good people quick. You attract them to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Oh man.
So when it comes to like when you decided to do surfboards, what made you like
Dude.
I'm gonna jump into surf?
So it's interesting. I didn't really decide to jump into surfboards. It's actually my dad that asked me. So when I was really young, my dad used to laminate surfboards, which is like glassing them, putting
Yeah.
fiberglass and resin on the foam blanks.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I grew up in a surfboard factory down in IB,
Yeah,
going over
fuck
there
yeah.
after
Awesome.
school or whatever all the time, just running around and like
Yeah.
trying not to get hurt and get acetone in my eye or whatever, like not to fuck too much shit up. And he had tried to start a business of his own sometime in the early 2000s. I couldn't really say. I don't remember exactly when it was, but it didn't go well. I love my dad. He's awesome. He's a really hard worker. He's just not a good businessman. He doesn't understand how a business works. So
Yeah.
I love you, Pops. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, I feel you. I know,
know what
you
I
gotta
mean?
be truthful. It happens sometimes,
so-
but that's why you got your family.
So
sometimes,
he
you know?
he actually asked me. I had been running my business for 3 years and doing really good, and I was working like 70 days a year.
Yeah.
That's it, and then just chilling, surfing, going on trips,
That's awesome.
and I was
Oh my
making
gosh.
good
Yeah.
money. Not a shit ton of money,
But enough
like,
to fucking
enough to do
be
what I want
happy
to do.
and
You know
do
what I mean?
like
And like I'm not balling in no way, shape,
Yeah.
or form. Like there's still times where I live check to check, but I get
You-
to live check to check doing what the fuck I want to
Yeah.
do. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Not what somebody else wants me to do or being where some. So let me just
yeah.
pause that real quick.
I mean that
but,
is
like,
they call
balling. Though.
that,
You live in San Diego, California.
a lifestyle business.
yeah, I mean,
So
I'm
it's
just
like you work your job or your business to the point that you can afford the lifestyle that you want, and you just find balance in that.
right. And I love using cameras.
Yep.
I love surfing and I love surfboards. So like this seems like I'm doing okay. I don't have many complaints. But
Yeah.
but back to the surfboard thing. He had asked me before I was going on a trip with my friend Basil Lynch and my girlfriend at the time Taylor. We were doing a trip to Mexico for Yokohama Tires, and we were doing content for the release of a new tire. So we had gotten new tires for all of our vehicles. There was 4 vehicles, and we were doing like 2,800 miles the entire Baja Peninsula on this trip. We're gonna shoot content, photos, and surf the whole time. Super fun. It's like 19 days. And my dad, before I had left, had asked. He was like, "Hey, what do you think about me opening up a surfboard factory?" And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, you just inherited some money. My grandma just passed away.
Yeah.
You'd be better off just spending that money and going on fucking vacation for however long you can spend that $100,000 than trying to start a business, stressing out and just losing it, going bankrupt like previous.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, I'd love for you to help me." And I was like, okay, maybe. Like, let me think about it. It's not in my plan. I'm working like 70 days, a year, surfing all the time, chilling, going on trips, and like doing whatever I want, you know.
That's dope.
But yeah, so I ended up. We went on the trip. I thought of some names. And we're surfing for like 19 days, you know, good, perfect waves. It's empty, and I'm like, fuck, man. I guess I could
do a
I
board.
could make some surfboards. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I've seen surfboards my whole life. I've surfed my whole life, and there was a point in time, after that injury that I had in 2011 where I didn't surf for 8 years, but I grew up doing that shit, and it's like, yeah, maybe I could be down with that. We could have, got some good teachers around, and so yeah, I decided when I was down there, I was like, fuck it, I'll come up with a name. I think it'd be rad. When I got back, I told my pops, let's do it, and he was like, all right, we're gonna invest $55,000, and I was like, my only condition is that the business is in my name, and I have complete control over all the money, so that I don't have to have any arguments with you about why I'm spending money a certain way or why we're doing things a certain way.
Yeah.
And we'll be good. We won't go bankrupt, hopefully.
Yes.
Every business
And
is a
so
gamble.
we're doing good now, dude, and it's awesome. Like we've hit some speed bumps, cause
Yeah, because you started like what, 3 months ago?
we started we got the keys on July 13th,
So, like, 7 months ago.
2019. So it's been about 7 months now.
Yeah.
And it's been really good, but we've had a good support system. Luckily, my dad, from the time that he spent in the industry back in the early 2000s, late 90s, he's got a lot of friends that are still doing the same thing, and so
Yep, that's dope. That's a
um,
nice little network.
it's slowly moving up. We had a really slow winter, like most surfboard companies do, but We made it through the winter. My thing is like it's frustrating because you spend a lot of money and you get you're trying to balance your cash flow, and it's hard to not be stressed out. But because of this being my second time doing this, I really don't have any fucking worries, dude. To be honest with you, like we really got to blow it. We really have to blow it to
fuck
lose.
that up.
Like
Yeah.
we make really good surfboards. We got a good crew of guys that have been
And
doing
you
it
have
for
one
a
of
long
the
time.
best content creators. Fucking,
Yeah,
And
Like,
that's
right
my thing
here.
is
You're
like I
the
get
golden boy.
Like,
He's
dude,
like, I
you know,
came
you're
in
on
here.
marketing.
I get to have control over
The
that.
videos
so.
you've been dropping are fucking amazing.
And we're
I'm
just
not gonna
getting
lie.
started. Thank you. I really
Like,
appreciate that. We're just getting
dude,
started. So I hope.
They're just like,
You just plucked the best videographer out of the business. He don't even know how his dad.
But
played him.
I'm still doing. I still do video.
You still
a
do
lot.
video for a bunch of people?
I still.
Yeah.
So not for a bunch, not full time. Like
Okay.
I just came back from LA. I'm working on a Netflix documentary with this
Dope.
director, and I still do a few shoots like once or
Okay.
twice a
Okay.
month.
So you like to feed
But-
your your niche.
Well, it's
You
nice
like
to go from one to the other. Like
Yeah.
then you don't get stressed out too much with
Yeah,
either
true.
or.
That's
you
true.
know,
That's
right?
true.
So
You probably
but-
get the pick of the litter.
Yeah.
You probably got like a couple of them.
and then
all
you
the
know,
time,
after
one
a
day.
year or two, you can hire on a couple of apprentices, start having them take over the board making, and then you go back
we're
to.
doing that. We're
He's like,
doing
I don't
that.
even
We've
do
got
anything.
some-
I'm sure there's so many people in this town that
Who would
would
love
be
to work
just
in the skate
jump.
area?
Like,
But the thing is it's like it sounds a lot cooler than it really is. Like you
Does
don't. It depends if that's a lifestyle that you're looking to live.
Yeah, if someone's a
I
surfer
imagine it's a
who,
lot like what I hear. Like, I'm not really a welder, but I've heard like welders. It's like you're laying in like one spot for like 8 hours sometimes. Like I feel like that's a lot because
It's
you're
just-
doing the same motion over a 6 foot span.
It's a very
Like, all day.
detail oriented.
Mm-hmm.
It should be like if you're not practicing detail and being focused while you're doing it.
Like woodworking.
Personally,
or,
I don't
like
think you should be
sculpturing.
doing it.
Like polishing a piece of
So,
granite.
but there's
like,
people
one
like
spot
that
for a
everywhere.
month.
They're like, those are the good enough. You know, what I mean? That's good enough. Good enough for who, bro? Like, good enough for you. It ain't fucking good enough for me because that looks like shit. You know what
I
I mean?
like
So,
that.
like-
I'm gonna have to fucking use that.
When people say that,
That's
I'm like,
good
so I
enough.
get skeptical about
Oh
your
my god!
standards. I'm like, ah.
Holy shit! I
lost
may
a
have
couple-
changed my
You
whole
lost a
argument
couple- you
in
lost-
life.
lost a couple
Good enough for
points.
who?
Yeah,
Good enough for you?
who?
It's not
Yeah.
good enough for me.
Yeah, fuck
Oh,
that, dude.
no jokes.
So-
That literally just set a standard
But
in my mind. Of using
there's a
that.
lot of similarities that I see in making surfboards and with video, at least in the way that I make it, video or
Yeah.
content or photos, because you have to pay attention really closely to everything that you're doing, and with a lot of the types of content that I've done in the past, whether it's like off-road racing and stuff, sometimes I've driven a couple 100 miles over the course of a few hours to get to one spot to shoot a car or a race bike going by, and like if you miss it, you miss it. Like there's no like, hey bro, fucking wrap back around real quick. I'm gonna try to get another shot.
Yeah.
So you gotta be really focused. You gotta know exactly what you're doing, and you need to be able to kind of execute like at a specific time. And with surfboards, I feel like you're not on a time limit like that. With laminating, you are, but you just need to kind of really pay attention to everything that's going on. It's definitely like keeping my attention, my focus right now. So I'm enjoying it a lot. I don't think I'm gonna stop. I'm committed. Like I can't just
Oh, it's
fucking
mine.
sell the company. Like I can't just, all right, I'm done. Fucking throw it away. So.
It's like I'm the piece of it. I can't just let it
Yeah.
disappear.
But so while we're talking about that, I would like to say thank you to my dad, because I mean, if it wasn't for him, and to my grandma, rest in peace, she was awesome. She's like my rock, the matriarch to our family. She's kick ass, down ass Mexican lady. She'll beat your ass with a chancla and make you the best bean and cheese burrito with homemade flour tortillas ever. But
Right.
without my family on that side, we wouldn't have the surf shop. So so it's super rad to be able to do that, and I'm really grateful to be able to work with my dad every day. And like, even though we argue about the stupidest shit all the time, like you know what I mean, it's cool because I know that I'll be super grateful for the time that we spend together in the future. So
Oh yeah.
It's true.
I'm excited about that.
I mean, it's just kind of cool, the idea of starting a business with a family like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, now it is just like it's a family business.
Yeah, I think it's sick.
You know they won't just quit and diss on you. Some may, but
Yeah,
But
I know
when
he
you're with-
won't. My dad's
when you're with
down.
the
My
real
dad-
fam, you know, like they're not gonna just.
My dad's an optimist.
You may have
dude.
to kill him to leave.
The plane could be going down, and he's like, "I'll grab the wing and hold it on. Like we're good. We're landing this.
Let's
bitch,"
go,
know?
exactly.
And I'm with him too. I'm like, we can make that happen. You
Never
know,
die
we're gonna make it
attitude.
fly.
I'm really,
We're not
I'm really
hitting the ground.
solution based and logistical. I'm like, I got to see some wire right there where you can wrap this bitch up and get it down.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
So I think we're gonna be good. And like I said, the crew that we have there, they're really good at what they do and getting better. Cause I try to give them shit when they're not paying attention.
What is that?
But I think we're gonna do good. I don't have any intentions of leaving, and it's been super fun so far.
Oh,
So
hell yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's
Hey, man.
awesome.
So what would you say to someone who's trying to figure out what they should kind of jump into next?
I think you should really, dude. That's such an easy answer because it's such a Gary Vee answer. It's like, well, what makes you happy, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
you can really make money doing anything if you approach it right, and you kind of like we were talking about earlier with content.
Yeah.
Like it's really easy to make good content when you ask the right questions about the content that you're making. So if you're asking the right questions about, well, what should I do, and you're really giving truthful answers, and you're using a very open and not a scarcity-based mindset, like
Yeah.
being, people will say like, oh, I like to do this, but I can't make money doing that, and they'll
God.
instantly limit
It like
themselves.
eats me alive. when
I
you're
just
like,
wanna
but
be
I
like,
can't
"Bruh!"
afford it, or I can't. I'm just like, who?
Dude,
We're talking
sometimes-
about getting. We're not talking about what you don't got.
That's why.
Okay? Can we talk about getting, please? Like,
It's hard though. It's hard to break that. It's hard to break. It's hard to break a pattern and like a train of thought that your parents have raised you in. The whole
True that.
most of society and everything follows through that. You kind of have
Very
to do
true.
this set of things in this specific order by
Yeah.
these specific ages, and like
Like what?
I'm kind of like nah.
Whenever I want.
That
I
doesn't
don't.
work for me.
Yeah.
Can we try this
I kind of
again?
want to go surfing right now. So
I don't want to do
or you know what I mean.
Should I do
So-
it? No, I think I should do what I want to do. I
Right,
think that's,
but at the same time too, I think what's important is you got to be able to realize that. So if you are gonna pick something, for me, I picked video, and I'm super grateful and I'm super lucky that well, it was photography first, but I'm super grateful that that's something that I had liked from a young age and I had interest
Yeah.
in, and that I got injured the way I did, and if I look back at it and I told you the complete story, for me the way that it happened is it kind of just happened, like these certain chain of events and super specific like pivotal moments in my life led to where I am now, and I could name those moments pretty
Yeah.
clearly, but for a lot of people that's not the case. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
very true.
For me it was
Yeah.
being in the right place at the right time and having access to a certain network of people.
Yeah.
We're lucky to be in San Diego. Like
Very
if you're
true.
in
This
bumfuck
this
Egypt,
town
bro,
is just chock full of people trying
and
to
it's
make
only
more friends.
it's only getting
like
it's only getting more and more packed, or more and more people are aspiring to do something because they have friends that are doing it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and to be honest with
and
you,
people
like
are kind of being forced into it too. It's like there's a lot of people like I need to figure out a way to make an extra $600 a month.
right, yeah,
Or
and I think for me, I'm obviously a creative person, so I
Yeah.
want to push people towards that, and I think not everybody has that as an outlet. Sometimes like you'll have your creativity kind of like trained out of you to a certain aspect,
Yeah.
but I think it's hard for specific people to tap into that. But I think if you do have a creative side and there's something that you're really good at, you should really explore it and start looking at other people that are using that as a means of income and monetizing it, and see how they're monetizing it
Very
and
true. Simple as that.
re-engineer it. Like you
Yep.
got to reverse engineer that shit, and
how do you take something that's already out there and make it your own?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do it the way you want to do
What
it.
is it?
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I do with video too. I like to find clients, as selfish as it sounds, that let me
Do what?
shoot the way that I want to shoot. Especially when I'm DPing something, or if I'm the lead, then I have complete control. And I also like to give that complete control to shooters that I trust, that I bring on, because that's how you put your spin. Like the friends that I have that I like how they shoot, when I pay them to come out and shoot, $1,000 or $700 or whatever it may be a day, it's very rarely where I'm like, you need to get this, 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 and this. It's kind of vague. Like I need these shots of these things. Go do your work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's how, when you have a creative that's spent a lot of time developing their craft and honing their craft, that's how you get the best work out of them. And most of the creative people I feel like that are like semi crazy for sure, because I'm like super weird and I have to work under I like to work under specific circumstances. I smoke a lot and like I work better and I'm able to work cleaner and like more fluid. I have a cleaner thought of creativity when I'm smoking. And so like I want to be working with a crew of people or on a gig where even if they're not okay with it, I can at least sneak away because I need to be able to keep my train of thought. But I think that people need to really find their flow state and kind of not say this is in a way that I can make money. Like you got to be super open to it and start looking at.
I think that you are super keyed into just understanding how the brain works, like motivating people to do their best work.
Yeah.
Just trusting them.
Right.
Like that. Like, hey, like I hired you for a reason. It's because I like you.
Right.
It's like I don't want you to work for me. I want you to work with me.
And so going back to your question, if you're trying to find something that you want to do, find something you're really passionate about. And again, it's not a super easy answer for most people. They're not like, oh, and really just try to invest your time on honing whatever that is, and surrounding yourself with people or offering your time to people that are currently making money. That's a good way. That's kind of what I did. I helped a lot of photographers or videographers that were way farther advanced than me for free. Just like, yo, can I come out and like carry your bags, help tilt some lights up, and like maybe do some, like if you're a photographer specifically or videographer, if you offer someone like me or anybody in a similar position to do BTS shots, like I'll do behind the scenes shots of you guys while you're working, that's super valuable because a lot of times
my man here loves doing behind the scenes shots.
Yeah, well,
like
his
whole setup is pretty much for just like on the go.
That's so valuable because
shoot with you behind the scenes.
There we go.
Like it's
magic made in heaven.
It's one thing for me to make some cool stuff and like put out a rad video, but I love having shots. I never get, not often, but I do get shots of me working or the crew behind the scenes, and it's super sick because that shit's happens and it's gone. Like this shoot that we just did, it was the first time I had worked with an RE Alexa and some of the glass that we were using, and it's a sick ass rig. And so luckily one of my buddies, Dennis, was there that I met through my buddy Brian Bloss, and he was able to take some BTS shots, and like it's sick to have those memories,
and
when
you're behind the camera,
so you're
never in front of it.
Yeah,
you're like always like the people that never have photos of them, like good photos, are like photographers and videographers.
For sure.
There was like weird, shitty cell phone photos.
Yep.
Because
fucking weird selfie with like a triple chin. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah. It's like nice car behind you on a 6 set, no good photos, So that's just that kind of way. But whatever your craft is, if you're a sculptor or what, it doesn't matter. Like if you're a marketer, and you want to be the fucking best marketer there is, go to an agency or somebody that's running their own thing and just offer your time. Like there's a shit ton of stuff to be done, so it doesn't need to just be specifically in a creative field.
There's so much to be done on a set.
And if
you can always just do more, but there's more hands as long as they're dedicated
especially with
to
creative stuff. But another thing when it goes into that kind of stuff, I'm super picky about the people that I'll bring too, because I don't have it takes a very specific person once you start getting to certain levels of production to be valuable, if that makes sense. Because
no, that makes sense. Definitely.
You really gotta, even if you don't know what's going on, you need to be able to figure out what's happening quickly, because you don't want to be in the way and you don't want to be standing still. Really, sometimes like when you're doing bigger things and everybody's getting paid for a specific thing, but there's a lot of standing around, and I'm okay with that because you're getting paid. But like when you're doing small stuff with a crew,
everybody's got 7-8 jobs to do.
Yeah, and it's good. So like if you're trying to get into that, pay attention to what people are doing. Watch videos on YouTube. You kind of got to be proactive, and like if it looks like somebody's looking for something, try to be already finding out where that is, and like, oh, here's, if you need this lens, I saw you asking for this. I seen it. Here it is. Like, just being quick, and it's important because all clients will always be like, oh no, it's going to be super easy. It's going to be a really fast shoot. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know it is. Trust me. I know it's going to be super easy and really fast. And so like, We all know that's not true. So you got to try to be moving as efficiently as possible to keep it
Those are
super
my
easy and
favorite
super
things to
fast.
hear.
You know what I mean?
Fuck.
No, don't worry. It's gonna be real easy.
The
2 hours.
the easy photo shoots.
Right.
The easiest photo shoots I ever thought, like going into them, turned out to be the ones that like took me 2 weeks to
You
do
learn
because
that
like I
fast.
couldn't do it right.
You
It
learn
was
that
like,
really
fuck.
fast.
Dude,
But that's
always
I love
learning.
That's, my favorite. You
That's
just
trial
laugh.
by fire, dude. That's the best way to learn. For me, that's the best way to learn. I learn best under pressure. Some people are just like and crumble, but for me, like when I have to get shit done, I'll stay. Like
Right.
I'll pull 18, 19, 20-hour days back to back, drinking a bunch of these. I know it's super bad for you, and I actually have another story. I don't know if we need to share it now because it's a long story, but I just like was not taking good care of myself, and these are super bad for you when you drink a lot of
Yeah,
them.
they
So you gotta be careful with the 20-hour days, but yeah.
Fuck.
If I gotta get shit done under pressure, I gotta get it done. So
I feel you on that. Definitely.
you know,
That's the other thing with the bigger clients. There's a timeline on production,
right?
like post production.
Yeah,
Smaller clients, you can be like, I need an extra week.
right.
It's like you only paid me $400, so.
Yeah,
But when they're like,
that's a whole nother
The
story.
bigger they get, I
when
feel
they're
like
like
the shorter the
$20,000,
time.
$30,000
and the more-
shoots, they're like, all right.
Well, that
hey,
goes into your planning too. That like whoever's the lead on that, and I'm trying not to lead a bunch of stuff. Like I'll lead for specific clients on specific projects that I feel not necessarily really comfortable with, but that I'm super aligned and in flow with. Like, oh, I could do this shoot essentially fucking blindfolded. Like
Mhm.
whatever this the subject matter is. Like I just did this cool thing last year. It was like August with Ronin Factory. I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram. This company was giving away a Ford Raptor and like 30 grand cash.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Saw
watched
that?
that, but I watched it on your
Right.
profile.
So yeah. So that was sick because we were doing a lot of just beauty content, and that's my favorite stuff to do is just the shit where you see a shot and you're like, oh, well, that looks so good, or you're like kind of like, where is he shooting from, or like what
Yeah.
am I even seeing right now? That kind of stuff. And for advertising, like an off-road truck, and that kind of stuff's fun. It's not even really work,
So I remember you like had the truck like driving like in a desolate road, right? And, like the drone
Yeah, I
shot
was
coming
out.
up.
Yeah, I mean,
and
we did. They did that right too. That company really. Shout out to those guys, man. They really planned. They did their part to make sure that whole campaign was successful. And like when I had started talking to them on the phone, as somebody who used to be in their shoes, it was really refreshing to hear. Because I'm always concerned too, like when I'm doing content, what the client's gonna do with my content. Because at the end of the day, like I may provide you with the perfect piece of content, but if you don't have the right strategy to distribute it, then it's not going to be successful. So so hold on, here's the thing, like you got to really be,
I like this guy.
I'm just
I
saying,
like this guy.
that'll make you look bad as a content creator. Like if you did your part, but then they can't distribute that shit, it makes and then they get a sour taste in their mouth about the content that you made. They're like, oh, this fool made me this shit and it didn't work. And it's like, well, bro, you posted on your page with like 1,000 people and then didn't put any money towards it. And oh, you did put money towards it, but it was like moms in Iowa that are 50 to 60 or something. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
Tag this part.
so those guys did a really good job about that. That's important, I'm just saying. There's a lot of steps in
There's
the
a lot of
process,
steps.
There's so many times.
So complicated.
It is.
Because I'm like at heart a marketer, and I've talked to so many videographers, and they just don't
They
get
don't
that.
get it. So that's
I'm like, don't do that to yourself.
that's why I'm super picky about the people that I work with, and I have I don't advertise anywhere. Like I own my domain. Website is not up. If you go, I think it says it's like we're working on it or something. I don't fucking whatever they pay, but like I don't want people calling me, and like I don't want to do a shit ton of work. I just want to work with people that are friends of clients or whatever that have referred them to me, or something where it's close and people understand. Like, yeah, you can hire a video.
Referral clients are
This
always
is
the
when
best.
hey, listen, videographers. Hey, one lesson. This is when you know you're good. But if you're not this good yet, you better work your ass off.
But you gotta encompass.
But you better. How did you get to that point? First of all, because people gonna be wondering, okay? Because he's killing
Yeah,
it.
he's got some
But
secrets in there.
before that happened, what was your approach as a young videographer?
Take everything.
Thank you. Okay.
Take everything.
Every
Thank
job.
you.
So remember when I said really unhealthy for you?
Yeah.
I try to tell that brief. But
I need that part.
When I quit my job, I had to pay my bills, and luckily at the time, the boss that I had, When I walked in and told him, oh, I want to quit my job after I saw Gary Vee speak, he was like, I thought he was gonna be like, I didn't think he was gonna be super pissed because he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Brandon Stapper. I don't know if any of you guys know him. He was the boss at 858, and he was in a tragic helicopter accident in Kenya. And I'm gonna try not to cry. Super big mentor and a huge part of my life and why I am where I am.
Yeah.
Among a couple other people that I'm sure I'll mention at some other time in this, and I'll mention before we end, even if it doesn't have to do with the story.
Exactly.
So,
Fuck it. No matter what.
yeah, it like, I lost my point, bro.
You took everything.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
you took everything.
everything
So
and unhealthiness.
he helped me out, let me work from home and help him out. But even at that time, I was trying to get out of there quick, so I had to take everything that could come to me, any kind of job, and I did that. I was working like, kind of like Gary Vee said, straight 18, 19, 20 hours a day, every single day. Friends like stopped calling me because they knew I was gonna be like, nah, bro, I'm working, or wouldn't answer or whatever. And even if I wasn't getting paid, I was practicing. I was shooting friends, or I was offering my work for free. And when I did offer my work for free, I tried to offer it to people where I could, where
you saw a vision of it, like helping
either them or even me too. Like, I try to make strategic alliances. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, if you're cool people, I'll hang around with you too. Obviously, I have friends that like I have no requirements from or anything, but when it comes to rare, you gotta be funny at least. You know what I mean?
Gotta have something, because honestly, you ain't gonna be kicking it till like, for what? I always be like, why?
Yeah, so
that's a problem.
I tried to make, if I wasn't getting paid to do something, I tried to make content that people were either gonna like to watch, that I had access to making, or for companies or people where I knew they were going to share it, and I could pull a few followers or eyes or other clients or future work or whatever. And it moved quick, dude, because like I went from taking like $300, $400, $500, and $600 jobs to doing like $30,000, $40,000, and $50,000 jobs and hiring the homies. And like when you start, there's not a lot of room to be like, yo, I want to give you some work, bro. Like, I'm going to make $1,000. Do you want $400 to edit? Like, I need that $1,000. You're not getting $400 to edit. I'm editing. I'm shooting it. I'm going to do that. And, like, so I had to get good at everything. And I'm still not, you're never perfect at everything.
Yeah.
You learn your own, like, style and flow and kind of how to make the most of what you have or what you've learned so far. But I'm obsessive in a certain way where, like, if I like something, I'm happy with what people used to tell me, like my parents and my ex-fiance at the time. They'd be like, you're wasting your time. Why are you wasting your time making this stupid little fucking animation in After Effects for nothing? And I'm like, well, it's not for nothing. Like, I'm trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, why do people do the Rubik's Cube? Like you know what I mean? My brother does that shit, and I kind of want to learn, but that's not something I'm willing to invest my time into because I don't need to pick up chicks that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
it's mine.
So I took everything. You got to take everything, but you'll learn quickly that by doing that, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you don't like to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the majority of people will stay there, or just not do well or well enough, and then they'll go back, especially with creatives, because a lot of people have trouble asking for money for something that they would do happily for free. And you need to really learn how valuable your skills are to the people that are requiring it.
Oh my! Hey, listen.
And then it becomes
I wish I had like one of those bomb things on this fucking channel.
So here's the thing: like when my if I didn't spend time in marketing at 858 and having a marketing budget and being able to and having to like allocate it to all these different things, then I wouldn't understand the value of my work as a content creator or as a photographer or as a graphic designer or whatever it may be. And it's hard for people to understand that, but companies need your shit. Like they can't do it without it. So I learned that was one of my biggest assets, is that I knew my value as a content creator and this was the second time, like when I left my job, this was the second time I tried to make my camera pay my bills. And the first time it worked until, remember, I told you I had to get a big boy job because it wasn't
Yeah.
working good enough. You know what I mean? Which is cool. I appreciate
feel
that.
you,
I
though.
appreciate that though now, because if that didn't happen,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got all that marketing experience, and I
It's
wouldn't.
true. That
So,
changed. I
like,
know for
as
how.
as
It's
as
always the fucked up
The-
moments in life when you got to step
But
back
I have
from
a
it.
question.
Then it's like
I
you
need a
learn what you
specific
need to
question.
learn.
yeah.
What did the marketing do to your ability to sell your video?
Everything.
Thank you, because
Everything.
I worked with so many videographers because I'm in marketing. I fucking love and breathe and die marketing.
Yep.
I know how much a videographer matters and needs in the projects. But every time
And
I met
specific ones
exactly,
too.
and I'm
They're
like,
all,
I meet
you know,
people who can't pay their bills, and I'm like, hey, listen, I can just get you every job possible. And I just need you to do the job. And they're like, oh, you're trying to play me. I'm like, no, you don't have the, what I would say is like the girth to say that I can charge this much. Because you have to understand what your video is worth when I start putting marketing behind it.
Yeah.
If you're not creating videos, and like, you have to figure this out as well as I do about how to create a vision that gets to this customer. You don't just get to do your own thing and not matter about my customer.
Right.
And like, they wouldn't understand that. They'd be like, oh, I want to create it like this. I'm like, but do you understand? If I win, you get everything after.
Right.
Every single time, I'm going to pick you.
And that's cool. I like that point of view, because that goes back to what I was saying earlier, where I was saying I like to work for the clients that just let me do what I want.
Yeah.
And that's not me being selfish. That's
Yeah.
just that sometimes what you're asking for
Yeah.
is not really what's going to get you the actual result that you're looking for.
Correct.
And I understand that may be what you think is the approach
Yeah.
based on like your marketing knowledge.
Yeah.
But in this situation, I feel like I know a little bit more than you, and
Yeah.
we should maybe go this way.
Yeah, so that's why I
And
want
so
them
it's
to
hard
know
say
about
that.
marketing.
It's
I try
hard
to
say that
ask.
sometimes to people. You know what I mean?
No, I try
So-
to ask them to care about it. Like, I don't care if they go freely create,
Yeah.
but I need them to care about the in-person.
Right.
Whether it's their, because I'm not a creative person. I'm not going to be like, look at it this way. I'm like, listen, this is the
Right.
customer. What do you think they're going to like?
Right.
Care enough to create something that I could give to these people
Right.
from your vision.
Yeah.
And people would be like, well, that's not how I create. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's how we're going to keep getting you money.
You'll
Because if I tell you this customer and you're like, I think, do your research. If you want to go do creative research and bring it back to me and tell me this is what I think we should do, this is what I think we should execute, that's what we do.
and that's kind of
Yeah.
what happens sometimes in my workflow because of my experience as a marketer.
Exactly.
Because I know that if I like, and it's funny because clients will say like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, bruh, what are you trying to sell? Like, you know what I mean? And sometimes they're like, oh, well, what have you shot? And it's like, well, I can show you anything. Like, I got weed commercials. I got commercials for corporate businesses.
Yeah.
I've got, like, music videos and small, stupid videos that I've made with my friends skating, like, through the forest. And just, bro, like, all
Those are the best videos.
What do you want to see, you know? And it's
Yeah.
like, the fun that I have in creating content, if it's specific, you know, for marketing or advertising
Yeah.
specifically, is when you get linked up with a marketing director or a CMO
Yeah.
or whoever's in charge
Correct.
of making the final decision on what's happening with whatever that little piece of budget that you or
Exactly.
big allocated, whoever's in charge of that, finding the people that really understand the value and working with creators that understand what you're trying to do
Yeah.
and how to do their best job to provide that.
Correct.
And being able to say okay to things that you may not understand.
Yeah,
or,
true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more you get, I think it's hard too, because with bigger companies you have older people, and this isn't a knock on older people. This
Yeah.
is a knock on the shift in how
world.
marketing is being done and how
Exactly.
content is being consumed.
Correct.
From TV, like this is everything I'm fucking saying too is just like everybody's been saying this.
Yeah.
This is not
It's
new.
called educate
information.
yourself in the industry.
Yeah, this is all just
knows the
information that's
industry.
available.
Yeah.
You know, it's just shifting, and like if you're in a position to make calls, you should really pay attention to those shifts, and you should really find people that are, you know, providing that kind of content.
Correct.
And somebody that fits for your project. Because the first thing I tell people when they're like, oh, I'd like you to do this, I'm like, okay, well, I'd love to hear more.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see if it's something that would fit for me. If it's not, I would happily send you to somebody else that you can give your money to that would be perfect for giving you what you
Exactly.
need. Because I don't, like, yeah, I would love to take your money, but I also don't want to waste my time on something that I'm not interested in, that I'm not going to be able to give you the content that is going to work perfect for that, you know?
Exactly.
And
I feel
so
that.
But yeah,
That's kind of the fun of the challenge coming from the business side, though, is finding photographers and videographers
Yeah.
that match a style.
right.
So
Very
it's
true.
some some of the photographers that I have worked with me shoot very kind of like airy and saturated and like very like
You knowing these terms helps though. Some people don't even know. Some people are like, I want it like nice. Like, what do you mean fucking nice, bro? You know, but some people, you gotta
yeah,
learn
they
as
want
a creative.
like some people shoot like really warm and
Yeah.
bright and like kind of like engagement
Feelings.
photo styles.
Feelings.
Versus like myself, like I like really high contrast. Like
Yeah.
I like to make it look like as real as possible.
Yep.
And then like some people like to shoot kind of like dark and more fade.
Yeah.
And like it's almost like there's a fog like, and so or different styles of video editing. Some people do like longer, more emotional cuts, and they really
100%.
get at getting the details. Other people are more like hype and camera movements, and
Yep.
so it's like which style are you going for? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of in every industry right now. It's the era of specialization right now, because
100%.
everybody
said that.
everybody is
I gotta
just
talk about that
starting to learn that thanks to the internet, it's really not that fucking hard to start a business, and then just as long as you're consistent with it, you slowly gain customers. Like you can pretty much do anything you want as long as you figure out a way to monetize it and turn it into a business now. And so with social media, everyone's just able to showcase their style.
Mm.
And like I love the one thing that I love about social media for like photographers, videographers is like you can see like the evolution.
100%.
Like and
It's so sick to go back and see people.
Yeah.
You can. I like.
and you
I
get you
check
can
mine
actually
out
get
sometimes,
to
I'm
know
like, wow.
people very
Whoa, I
well
shot
through
that.
like
It
their
happens
Instagram
fast, dude.
page.
It happens fast. That's the thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
10,000 hours is not a lot when you
No.
invest all of the hours you have.
Like
you
only
know
have
what
to,
I mean?
You only have to do like
Like
4
people
or
are like
5
10,000 hours. I'm like, bro, that's nothing. Like, just don't do anything else.
Don't you love?
You know what I mean? Like, how bad do
Yes.
you want it? You know?
Yes, exactly.
And you're gonna lose friends. You know what I mean? Sometimes, but sometimes you're gonna
You're gonna gain new
friends,
ones,
bro.
Once
You're
you're
gonna-
at what I call the doing mentality. They're
Yeah.
right there doing. So like every time an opportunity comes, it's like you guys meet each other in the midst of getting something done. And it's like,
Right.
damn, cool. We're having
Sometimes
cool
you
fucking-
just
we're
boom,
like,
and then
hey,
you
shit, we're killing it. Cool. Now we're gone.
Yep.
4 months later, we came back to project. Dope. I know this guy, and then like that value creates a different friendship because we both know we're about to fucking
Right.
do this. We're like, oh, we know what we're doing together. I'm so glad they brought you in. You know what I mean? Like,
But
Crush
dude,
on that.
back to what you were saying about the era of specialization and stuff, and I think that's super interesting that you talk about that because that goes back to finding the right person for the right project, and I think most people will develop a style and they'll develop a specific niche that they work in. You know what I mean?
yeah.
For me, I'm way too ADD for. Bruh, what's up with the crack lighter, dog? What are you doing over here?
That was.
Did you see that, dog?
You almost set the octopus on fire, dude. This,
Oh my god.
Why is it on the highest?
I don't know.
Here,
I didn't
use
know
this-
that it went that big,
use
bro.
this logo out because we're not trying to advertise for them.
Right. Damn,
There you
dude.
go.
I did not expect that out of this little lighter.
It's
I don't
like
think
the
I've lit
whole
this
place on
lighter yet.
fire.
You got to be careful. But I think there's a value in like stretching yourself through different industries.
That makes sense.
You can learn a lot of tricks that cross over and stuff. And because I'm so ADD just in life, I
Yeah.
like to shoot a bunch of different stuff. For me, it's the people kind of you get to
Yeah,
work with too.
exactly.
Obviously,
It's the coolest
I'll put
part
up with
is,
some
like-
bullshit for sure if the project's really sick. I'm like,
You're like,
if there's
I
a
wanna do
Susan
shit.
or a Nancy or something, these are not any specific people, but if there is,
You know
one,
who they are though out there. You know
Yeah.
who they are. You know those ones.
I'll
just
deal
like-
with them for a fun time with my friends making rad content, and then they're all stoked after because they're always like, oh my goodness, we saw the project, it was so good. And they love you after, and then they're excited to work next time. And it's like, you remember when you used to be all sassy to me and talk shit, and now you're like, oh my goodness, here's Ryan, he's so creative. And I'm like, girl, we've been through so much, So sometimes I'll put up with some bullshit, but like,
Oh, touche.
it's
right
about
there.
finding a good crew to
That
work
is
with,
true.
and like
That's true.
also sharing that shit too. I hate when people are shisty with their knowledge, dude. Like,
I try to
Should I
give
see
it
with
away.
knowledge and content? There's nothing that I hate more than copyright law anymore, and everyone being like, "I want the rights over it." I'm like, "Bitch, do you know how social media works?
yeah.
The more people that share your shit, as long as they're tagging you."
So for me, I tell all my clients too. I still own almost everything that I've ever shot. I tell them, I'm like, I own that shit. I don't give a fuck. Like, if you paid me or what, these are my images. I shot them. I don't care how much money you paid me. You're welcome to use, like, depending on, the contract, but I'm like, you're welcome to use them for whatever you want. But there's like, at no point in time where you're going to be selling my images for money or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you can advertise, throw it up on a billboard or do something, but like, you don't own these where it's like, oh, we've got some stock images we're gonna offer. No, sorry, that's not how it works, So but it's different for everybody, and I'm just kind of like that with my shit.
Were you like that forever?
I've always been like that though.
Like, even
but
when
I'm
you
also
started?
but I'm also super happy for people to share. Like, I understand when something here, you take that.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
gonna have to start paying you for babysitting.
so I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
When there's budgets and ad spend and all, and if they're making money on your shit, then
Yeah.
yes, like that's do not monetize, but just like sharing it, like
If they
letting
are
people like
monetizing,
share
it
it,
needs
or
to
like
be-
or like somebody ripping some of your video to like make their own social media video,
Yeah,
like that's kind of, as long as it's not
it's
a
gonna happen. It's gonna be
Yeah.
happening more and more. But at the same time, I don't know. I use a lot of that stuff as like fuel for the fire to just make better stuff. When people start taking my stuff, I'm like, dang, it was that good. You wanted to use it?
Mhm.
Watch this.
Watch this.
Like,
Wait. Here's
So-
another one. Let me set you up. That's dope. Yeah, man, that's crazy.
but that goes back to sharing. I think it's really valuable to share knowledge of how to do things. That's how I learned everything. Like, I didn't graduate high school. I have no GED. I've never been to college.
Fucking
I-
killing it still.
Just like, I'm really observant. I listen to people that I think know what they're doing. It's worked out so far,
Right?
Like, and just
That is
go
a
from
true
there.
statement.
You piece everything together.
You should only really listen to a few people in life.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I think
you'll know.
you'll know.
Yeah.
You
Some
know what I
people I
mean?
listen, some people are just
I've met people on the street before, bro.
yeah.
Like, random, that have said some statements to me, and I can't tell you right now off the top of my head because it's only happened a few times, but like, where they've just said a statement, and I'm like, bro, that was some real life stuff. Like, that
Yeah.
dude's smart. You know what I mean? Like, on a different kind of knowledge. But you'll meet those kind of people.
Yeah, definitely. Then we'll just be like, man.
But you gotta, like, I know you're talking about a
Right.
mentor. You gotta have a good mentor, like, and I had some great mentors for sure. That's really important to find some people.
That's how the human brain works, that it just experiences and then it makes an understanding based upon what it knew before
Right.
of what this new moment means compared to what they used to think of themselves, if that makes sense.
Makes sense a little bit. I get where you're going at.
So when you put somebody around you that creates a certain type of experience
Yep.
repeatedly,
Yep.
you slowly become that person. You're basically
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That's like my life.
yeah. It's like and then they're slowly becoming more like you.
That's really cool. I like that you brought that up. I think that I'm super grateful for the exposure that I had to some key people in my life because I grew up in National City. Do you know where National City is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
National City in the 90s and in the early 2000s when I grew up there is not like it is now. It's pretty mellow now. It's actually super mellow now. I'm sure, I know that shit still goes down. That's where that's where our Surfboard shop is.
Yeah.
But I grew up really close. I grew up kind of like over by 4th and Palm Mountain, or if you know where this is. But it's really close to like a couple intersecting non-friendly neighborhoods. You know what I mean? So there's just like a lot of shit going down over there. And shit gets fucking sketchy, dude. But you just gotta be on your toes. I don't even know where I was going with that. You're getting me high. I'm fucking rambling now. I had a really good point with it.
I don't know.
I don't know what
Fuck.
you're talking about. You can't take this away from me.
Being like your surroundings.
Oh, perfect, dude. So I had the opportunity to fuck up
Mm-hmm.
all the time, and I did a lot of fucked up shit, from drugs to just activities as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because of meeting a few people that lived way different lifestyles, not like
It showed you that lifestyle exists.
yeah,
That it's an
exactly.
option.
And so when I got sponsored and like I was hanging out with this dude Devin Chatterjee, shout out to my boy, he's like one of my best friends. I love you, Devin. You're the man, dude. If you see this, I don't know if you watch this. He's busy or fucking flying somewhere or shooting something. Or
Right.
Right.
Well,
doing
he's doing a
something, but-
bunch of shit.
But he, dude, I call him the Bojangler, and because he just somehow manages to get like the most audacious tasks done with what seems like he's been doing nothing the whole time.
Yeah.
But you're like, when did this happen? Like, you know, you're like, what the fuck? How'd you do this? And he's a marketing dude, and like, so when I met him through my friend Danielle Creekio, shout out D Creek Garnett Lashes, hit them up on PV on Garnett.
Oh.
You know Garnett Lash?
Yeah, I know one
Danielle
of the girls
Creekio.
there.
Oh, anyways, she,
Fuck is her name? Fuck if I remember.
he knows you, whoever you are.
Tag.
It'll come to me.
But I went to play frisbee golf, and I met this dude, and he was working for this company, Red Eye, and that's when I was flowboarding, and they were sponsoring some athletes, trying to like get their company out there.
Red Eye Nation.
Yes, sir, bro. That's who used to sponsor me. How do you
Dane?
know Red Eye Nation?
Dane?
Dane.
I don't know Dane. Dane who?
Dane's one of the people who runs with Red Eye Nation.
Now?
Now.
I don't know
See,
about them.
So now it's different. We won't talk about
I thought
that.
Dane started Red Eye Nation.
I don't know. There's all kinds of stories, bro. But
Yeah, we're gonna skip
were at
past
the
that.
start. No,
actually.
anyways.
'Cause there's a
Yeah.
lot of situations.
So this is
now.
like back.
Yeah,
this
there's
is
questions now.
yeah. There's
A
so
lot of
so at that time he worked for them, and he came out to the Wave House, hooked us up, and he ended up sponsoring us. And then I went from like never leaving the country other than Canada and Mexico, both by vehicle.
Mhm.
So they flew us out to South Africa, and I was like, "What? You paid for that?" Like we had a sick ass hotel room.
That's
and
dope.
so just by like meeting this one person at frisbee golf that like kind of showed me this way of life for a couple of months, I was like, "Bruh," and then I had to come back to reality after a while, and I was like, "Nah,
I gotta go back."
And I did. I went, and I got
Yeah.
that marketing job, but I'm grateful for that. But it's funny because I've met certain people where like, dude, shit was going bad. That could be a whole nother podcast about my childhood, like 18 prior, bruh.
Mhm.
But like, dude, it was bad. Like I should be dead or in jail for sure. So shout out to all my homies. I'm not saying any names that like kept me alive, and you know what I mean.
Appreciate
But
you.
But,
thank you, right?
But yeah, like brothers, bro, they'll do anything for you. So, and I don't even talk to a lot of them now, but I could. I know, you know that. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I definitely have a few of those.
but it's crazy when you change your surroundings, what will happen. And if you
Very true.
keep that path, dude, it's trippy to look back just 10 years. Like if I look back 10 years, it's insane.
So much different.
Yeah.
True that.
And time flies. Like people get all like, "Oh, they get impatient. Like I don't want to take this." Like, bro, you're gonna waste 3 years hating your job, and you're gonna be like,
You
"What
low-key-
happened?"
3 years is going by. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I
Dude,
was
like-
there fucking 4 years ago. Now I'm here. Wow.
Yeah. When a year goes
Crazy.
by, I'm like, "Damn, that went by fast." But then I'm like, "But I did so much. Like, how was that a year?" You know? I'm like, "Fuck,
It's
did
amazing.
so many
You feel
things."
like you did so much, but sometimes so little too. You're like,
Yeah.
That's
I know
weird.
that feeling.
Yeah.
That just
what
means
did
you
I
got a
do?
lot to do.
I had
feel
a
like
good ass time.
I feel like
though.
it's just that actually accomplishing anything just takes way longer than you ever imagined. it's
Dude,
going
I say that all the time.
And so, like, when you're in it, you feel like it's so much work. And when you look back, you're like, there's not actually that many specific things I'm particularly proud of. But also at the same time, it's kind of like
Everything.
everything. Yeah.
You know what's funny though is now I'm starting to get to a point, like at least with my video stuff, where I'm like I can look back a year and a half and even a little deeper than that to some stuff where I'm like, that's fire still. You know, I'm like, with what I was working with from no, like I just had some friends teaching me, shout out to Coach Diaz, he like, that's my seafood. He taught me my settings. Like he taught me how a camera worked, and he taught me how to. If you were like, "Oh, I want it to look like this photo," I'm like, done. I know exactly what lens to use, settings to put it on, whether it's video or photos. Like, done because he drilled me on that. So like, but if you put your mind to it, dude, like,
Damn, dude, I was just thinking, I pretty much started this, and it was one desk in the corner right there, a fucking weird like circle chair that you sit in, you know, the big like basket chairs,
oh yeah,
and then I had like my photo backdrop right here, and then now I've got fucking 4 people, including myself, in this house
Nice.
building this, other partners, and it's like you just put that into my head because it was like I have this photo now. I want to do a side by side of like what it looks like in here now versus just like empty and desolate with one desk.
yeah. It starts small, man. You just gotta stay
Right.
persistent.
And just
True.
build little by little.
Yeah, you just gotta have you surround yourself with those people, man. Like,
Yeah.
find your tribe, people that you vibe with.
I mean, that's what the internet, I think, is doing for that cool local thing it's bringing back. Is that
for
you get
sure.
to find people who are very interested in what you're interested in. You automatically get a little
So
cool
much.
tribe. You find each other in person. And you're like, damn, I got something really relatable with this person. Unlike all the people who next to me were technically used to be next to me, and I used to be trapped next to.
Yeah.
And now you have the internet. And that's why I think that's why people are understanding the platforms are going to bring things back home. Like, local is going to become way more important. Your tribe in a local area
Yep.
is going to become way more important.
But your local area gets bigger too, though.
It's true,
Yeah.
very
Depending
true.
on how much you travel, you know.
Very true. The feeling of being
I
anywhere and
mean,
feeling local is very key.
It should. Transportation isn't that too hard anymore though. Like
No.
shipping, like mail, driving. You can get halfway across the country in a day, like no problem.
Yep.
Like a long day, but
Yeah, long day, 16
like,
hours.
That's fast.
18
So
hours,
it's like
make
it's not that hard anymore to have like a wider
Very true.
like net over your network.
Yeah.
You know, like
To make money
like,
everywhere.
You could do like from San Diego, you can pretty much like Seattle through Denver to like East Texas, like
Yeah.
really easy. Like that's your whole network from one
I-
small business. Like,
Yeah, I drove like for video stuff. That's kind of why I built that truck, was for chasing the Baja races, but also I would go to do shoots in places.
Did you
but
ever work for Vet TV?
uh-uh.
No, I swear. Okay, that's I'll do the truck who came in and did like a shoot with a Vet TV one time. I thought that you never had a really cool truck.
No,
Thought that may have been you.
but I would shoot. I would do a shoot, and I would just camp along the way and shoot content, outdoor content. I got some outdoor clients, and like that's kind of how I got that gig with my buddy Basil Lynch. He brought me on to shoot some content for that
Nice.
Mexico thing. So like, I don't know, it's just
Sick. He was like, I was just fucking shooting, doing it, kicking it,
yeah.
and then
You just stay committed, man.
just keep popping up
Like-
content. People are like, I like that. I want my shit. to
People
look
get
like that."
impatient and they get like, you want instant gratification, which I'm all about. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to have it, you know. That's the age that we live in. But also, like,
Just
what? Don't rush. Like, you're gonna be doing something. So do some shit that you like. Like, fuck, you know. And everybody, I know that sounds so easy to do, but it's difficult. But it's like sometimes I'm just like, bro.
I
it's
think-
like so easy but so
I think the
complicated at same
strongest
time.
thing that worked for me was just realizing, like, finally just getting kind of old enough, I guess, to realize, like, the difference in how much changed in myself over the last year when I wasn't even really doing anything.
Yeah.
And then being like, I wonder, like, how much would change over the next year if I start
Doing something.
planning, like, imagining, what am I going to do today that's going
Right.
to put me where I want to be in a year?
Yeah.
And, you know, kind of thing
And
like
I do that like I don't do that as much as I used to, but I do still put that in practice over like short, you know, month spans. Or
Mm-hmm.
dude, I used to plan daily by like deep into the year. I'm over it. I'm not there anymore. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's not my life. I just want to surf and shoot rad content and make surfboards and
Right?
like make surf films and travel and shoot. Like I'm working on a Netflix thing that I can't talk about right now. That's like pretty easy stuff. Like, you know, I'm just standing at the camera doing some time lapses, doing some pulling focus on some interviews and stuff. But it's sick. The crew that I'm working with and the director, her name's Deborah. I believe her last name is Schroeder. She did Evil Genius. I don't know if you saw Evil Genius on Netflix. It's crazy if you haven't seen it. Check
don't
it
think
out.
I've seen
It's crazy. She's wild. This thing's gonna be nuts if it goes. We're trying to get it picked up, but I already know, like, just by what we shot, I'm like, there's no way this isn't getting picked up. So I love doing a bunch of different stuff, you know.
That's
So
dope.
like,
That's
keep
dope.
yourself
That's cool, yeah.
keep yourself spread
So
out.
I think that's part of the fun of the industry is it draws people that are never satisfied, or like you don't ever want to be bored.
Yeah,
You know,
you shouldn't
'Cause
have
it's-
to be.
Yeah,
That's true.
Like we come from like my parents, not specifically, but that generation. It's like they're like, why are you never happy? And I'm like, well, why should you not be? Like,
Yeah. What is
why
it?
aren't
Wait,
you, like,
I'm always
being-
happy but very
Yeah.
unsatisfied.
yeah, well,
Like,
like,
I'm happy, but I'm like, I got some more.
I could do some more
I can
stuff,
do
you
some
know?
more. I'm
Or, like,
unsatisfied.
yeah.
I
Every
still
day I
got some
say,
crazy-
I
I'm
mean,
content.
I only do
Yeah.
things that make me happy or gonna get me to somewhere where I know
Right,
think
and
I'm gonna be happy.
that's not.
Like,
I'm not saying that I'm not content with my life.
Yeah.
I'm super content, but like, I am content because I do a bunch of shit that I like, you know. So, and
It's
I
like-
wasn't
It's
always.
like I am in the
That's
place where
it.
I'm like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah, and I wasn't always. So,
Yeah.
and it took. We're coming up on like 4 years. It took a long time.
How long have you been? How long before now did you pick up the camera and was like, I'm gonna shoot videos?
So that was in like, I want to say 2011. That was in 2011 when I got injured in South Africa.
okay.
That's when it wasn't even like I want to shoot videos. It was like I'm hurt and I'm going to be depressed if I can't. Because I was riding every day. I was
gotta
either
do something.
surfing, skating, or riding that flow barrel. It was like doing something on a board.
Every day.
Every day. That was like that was what I did. And then I also was like bartending or bar backing or valeting, depending on what period of time that was. But like that was just so I could have money to go do those things. And that was very little time. And then that developed into like emceeing and some stuff. But 2011 I got injured and I picked up the camera because that was my only way to be doing something other than sitting there while I was injured.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, well, fuck, I guess if everybody's going to still be surfing, I'm not trying to sit at home every day.
Yeah.
And be all sad and taking all these pain pills in my fucking big ass sling, you know what I mean? Like, so I went out and I shot, and luckily, Devin and that company had equipment that I was able to use then, because there's no way I could afford equipment. Especially back then, it was expensive. Like, equipment,
way more expensive.
equipment to quality to price, what's available now, like,
the way lower barrier to entry.
And it's crazy too. The funny thing is, the better that you get at shooting stuff, like I care about what I'm shooting on now. I use a red now, and like I love my red camera.
Yeah.
But if I had to, I could use that cell phone, bro. Like I could make some fire on the newest cell phone that's out, whatever it was for like the last
Dude, the night shots on that 11,
dude,
it's insane. Like you look at it, you're like, that's a professionally stacked image.
Yeah.
But it's just
once you
like,
learn,
you can't make it big.
Yeah.
But when it stays like this big, like it's fucking.
Well, that's how most people are gonna view it anyways.
Yeah.
Unless it's going to like you know.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm still like, I'm a pixel whore, dude. Like I want them to be sharp. I want them to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
It's like on every size. It doesn't
Crispy-
matter.
Crispy AF,
bangers.
bro.
Crispy bangers.
So she
bro.
needs to be the best on every size. You need to be able to view that shit on the
crispy.
TV. Like it's mine.
Back to what you were saying about like the whole social media thing, kind of connecting people and keeping things local or whatever. This is a good time for me to like segue to this. I just need to give a shout out to my buddy Brian Bloss. He was like one of my best friends. He passed away last year.
Yeah.
And I met him through Instagram, through like the dude that I mentioned earlier, Koch Diaz. Met him at NAB, and he was like, I think you should hit this. I don't remember what I was talking about time lapse or something.
Yeah.
He was like, you should hit this guy up, and I ended up just hitting that dude up and was like, hey, your shit's dope. We should link up. Maybe go shoot some shit. And he was just like down, but he was working on like television shows in LA and like all over the place, and so. It's crazy.
He's just like, I'm down to do what I already love to do.
He was like, I'm down. I was like, let's go on a fucking road trip or something. He's like, I'm down. And I don't remember where actually, our first trip, dude, was another friend of mine, Stan Moniz, that I had met a similar way through a similar friend at the same time. And we all decided we were going to go do this like week-long trip in Oregon and shoot. We shot like the whole coastline and Mount Hood and just a bunch of like, the shit everybody shoots on fucking Instagram, bro. To be honest, that's what we shot. But it was sick.
The best Instagram fucking video.
You know what I mean? But
hands down, though.
It's sick because I met somebody that like I went. You know, me and a few friends flew out from LA to go to his funeral in Colorado with his family, and it's like, it's just crazy that through social media, through your phone, that you can meet somebody where like
change your fucking life.
Your life, bro.
Like change your.
You know what I mean?
Like one DM. Change your life. Like there's been a couple people I've met,
and
it's boom.
Yeah, so shout out to Brian, but also I love him. Dude is a master. Do yourself a favor and check out BBloss8, BBLOSS8. And you could just watch his content from like his last post that he did back, and there's so much fire. Like he invented the aerial time lapse. You know what that is? Like the shit that is auto on Mavics now, that you can be like, oh yeah, go from this point to this point and like do it in this time. He used to use like multiple apps and do that shit manually. He'd be shooting photos like a whole battery, 22 minutes, like beep 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 beep, and then turn these into time lapses before people even thought that you could do that shit. And then now it's something that's like,
dude, he's fucking good.
He's a beast, bro. And so, but he was also the kind of person that was like I had said, you know, I hit him up, I was like, yo, you down to go do this? He's like, I'm down, let's send it. Like, this is when I'm free, we'll go and do this trip. But he was also super happy to share information. And like, those are the kind of people you need to find. So social media is a great platform for young creators or anybody in any business to just reach
Right.
out to people and like really create bonds that are like bonds you don't want to break or could be lifelong bonds, you know, and like people that can help you really move yourself forward and learn a lot of stuff. So it's great. That's how I met you. That's why I'm here, because I have my
Yeah.
Instagram handle on the back of my truck. And some people I know, they're like, oh, look at this fucking goon's got his Instagram handle. But it's like, people are too scared to kind of put themselves out there, you know? And it's
So
like,
true.
so many people that I interact with now, like, because I'm not so focused on my, like, when I started the video business, I was
Yeah.
still, like, on edge, you know, like, I don't know if it's going to make it, so I'm working all the time. I don't want to talk to nobody or be anywhere. But now I'm at the beach, like, more than I'm not. And so I'm talking to a lot of people, and I meet a lot of people that are just, like, scared to look dumb, you know what I mean? And, like, with skating and surfing, you do not get good by, like, unless you look like a fucking idiot for a while,
Yo.
dude.
Thank
And
you.
if you don't have the confidence to do that,
Thank you.
you're not going to succeed. And you also have to have the humility with your creativity, your creative skills and, you know, camera stuff to ask people for help. And if they say no, fuck it, dude. Like, then they say no, and you're in the same position you were before you asked.
Let me
If they say
just
yes,
put it this way: if somebody says no to helping you, they're not somebody that you want to
help
help
you.
you.
straight
Like-
up, straight up, give me some of that.
True that.
I'll take some from
True
you on
that.
that statement too. Like, that's the truth. And the thing is that I've realized is the people that are the best at what they're doing, if they have the time, they're more than happy to help you. And sometimes also, like, if somebody doesn't get back to
And
you,
even if it's
sometimes people are busy, bro.
Exactly.
Like,
and a lot of times, even the people that are busy, they're like,
Yeah.
all right, well, if you can figure out a way to make yourself valuable to me,
Yeah.
like,
I'll give you a shot.
yeah, because
for
if you're
sure.
making even a small part of my life easier,
Yeah.
then you're
Then
valuable.
you're offering.
I
Like,
tell
even
people
if
this
it's
all the
saving
time
me
when they-
30 minutes a week.
Yeah, when people
Like,
hit
Yep.
us up all the time and they're like, I want you to do this for me. I'm like, let me see what I can do. And I don't hit them back. They're like, you didn't hit me back. I'm like, you know how much I
Yeah.
do? Listen, if it's your prerogative to do this, you should have hit me up again.
Yeah.
You
See,
should have
the
been like,
thing-
hey, man, what's up? What's the thing? Because I've made many connections and
Let
people
me-
didn't
I
respond and
can-
then finally got a hold
There's
of
a
that.
way to solve that
Yeah.
problem. If you're more solution based when you come to people instead of asking, like, how can I help you? If
Yeah.
there's a specific way that there's a specific skill that you have that you're looking to exploit
Exactly.
by helping somebody, then tell them how you can help them.
Exactly.
And they might be like, oh damn, look at this person came to me with a solution for something that may not even be a big issue, but something that could, you know, even if it's offering content or whatever it may be, it could alleviate pressure from their current person doing that or team or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it could be something that's valuable, but they could just see that you're proactive. You know what I mean? The
Exactly.
whole point is like not asking, like, it's nice for someone to be like, how can I help you, for sure, because like, fuck, dude, there's a million ways you can help me,
Yeah.
like all the time, but it's like,
True.
you know,
I'm always like, I got something. I don't know if it's what you want.
there's
but
literally like,
there's
you can come
always
sweep-
something.
You can come sweep the shop, you can go through like a couple petabytes of content and like organize that if you want, but if you fuck anything up, I'm gonna punch you in the face for sure, because not everything's backed up, because I don't, like, I practice that on paid stuff, but a lot of my my personal stuff, dude, I need to back shit up. If hard drive dies, I'm like, but there's a lot of
It's
things you can
just-
do for people.
It's so hard to keep up with backing that shit up because it takes so long.
Imagine,
And then fucking who's gonna find time for that? Like, unless you can pay an intern to fucking be backing shit up all day.
imagine having to
Fuck.
do that on like, that's when I really understood like how different like real production is from like what the majority of social media production has been up until now. And they're starting to slowly, like, not necessarily mesh, but so the lower is being able to access and like get to more of what
The
people are
high-end
doing at the
camera.
high end cameras and the high end productions and stuff. And like you were saying with data management, like, dude, sometimes we shoot terabytes a day on those big cameras, and like you have a guy, a DIT, that literally his job is to sit down and copy cards. Like, you fucking tape out or whatever. There's people do it different ways, but you just tape out a big ass grid with every different camera operator and what they're shooting, and all you got to have multiple cards. You're not like, at this point, you're not showing up with one card. You're showing up with like 5 and 6 cards, and you're just literally shooting and dumping all day. And there's a guy just like fucking with a porta potty usually behind him or something, because he's like, I gotta pee, and then he's got to get back and keep labeling and organizing shit. So
Oh, dang.
that shit gets gnarlier. It doesn't get better, bro. I hate to break it to you. So
I never expected
don't
it
back
to.
like start doing it now. Stay ahead of
Fuck,
it.
man.
That's funny.
God
Because it only
damn.
gets worse. That
Hell
guy.
yeah.
Right?
Everything's got to be input.
So I got 2 questions for you.
Yes.
One, if somebody's just starting right now, they got like $1,000, $2,000 budget. Like, what is kind of like the setup that you'd say like this is your go-to? And then 2, tell the people where to find you.
Okay.
And
Yeah. $1,000 to $2,000. That's hard. We'll do 2,000 and under. A thousand. You could. I'll answer the 1,000 question after the 2,000 question because
Okay.
it'll be a redundant answer. So I use, if I'm not shooting on my red, I use Sony's. Kind of like little small mirrorless. I still use an A6300. So like the majority of the images on my Instagram, which is at Pixel Pro HD, I cannot spell, so it's Pixle. I know that's incorrect. PROHD.
He doesn't give a
I don't give a fuck. It's like I'm like, you know what? I legit didn't know how to spell that. I'm leaving it. Like I didn't graduate high school. That just
It's
shows
your
you like
thing.
my humility. I couldn't
Yeah.
spell it. My friend Kevin Green, shout out to Kevin Green. Kevin Green, he's like one of my brothers. Follow him, the Kevin Green too. You'll figure it out. Just type it in. He was like, Pixel Pro like spelled correctly is open. I was like, I know, bro. I don't want it. I want to
Right.
keep it wrong. He's like, but like everybody's like, more people will find it if it's spelled right because you read it Pixel Pro. And I'm like, well, then it's not meant for them to find it, bro. You know what I mean? You got to pay attention to the little things, the details.
Right.
So Pixel Pro HD, Pixle Pro HD.
Let's go.
Find the guy.
$2,000. $2,000. Sony A series, the 6300. So that now I think they're on the 6700.
Yeah.
Those cameras are unreal. Like the 6300 that I have still, I can use that thing, dude. You
Right.
can just exploit little cameras. That thing shoots great video, shoots good photos. Like if you're just getting started, those little cameras are beasts. And you can get the 6300 used for under $1,000 guaranteed. If you can, get yourself like if you can make some fire with the kit lenses, which
Yeah.
is usually like the small 16 or 18 to 55s. The one thing that I learned from my earliest mentor, Koch, was the glass is the one thing that really matters. Because like if you put a really expensive piece of glass on a piece of shit camera, like you can get some fire images out of it with like the right use, So invest in good glass too when you have the opportunity to. So with $2,000, I would probably say try to get like, if you're doing video, Rokinon Cine lenses are really good to start, and it's not a bad thing to learn how to manually focus for photos too. It makes you appreciate autofocus when you have it. I use a lot of old lenses like FD and old Nikon lenses and stuff with adapters just because you get different looks, and a lot of those are manual, and I would shoot like moto photos with some of them, and that's hard. They're moving fast and you're like
Yeah.
manual focusing, so it's a good skill to have for video, but and for photos, I would recommend pretty much the same thing, but just get a good, like, probably a Sigma art series lens. Those they got good, they play well with the Sonys, and even Sony now, they're finally starting, not finally, but they're working on extending their lens range to, like, what Canon offers.
Nice.
I would, as much of a Canon fanboy as I used to be, and I love their color science. Shout out to you guys, Canon.
Yeah,
Your color
Canon's
science
the best colors.
is fire,
sure.
except for not as good as red, but it's good. And not as good as,
nothing's
nobody's
good as
as good
red.
as film, so I will say
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, the Sony cameras are fire. You have a lot of
Okay.
access to lenses. You can use a lot of lenses, so those
Oh yeah.
things.
Fuck yeah, bro. Thank you for coming on.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
appreciate
guys.
you
fun.
coming on the show, man.
Hell yeah,
Let's
dude.
go.
I'll be back. We'll talk some
We
more.
definitely
yeah.
have
So
another
much
podcast
more
we're gonna drop with
podcast.
this guy right here.
Bumping our
Alright.
gums for hours.
If you haven't yet, subscribe below. Do you have a YouTube channel, or you just?
I
kind
do
of
have a
Instagram?
YouTube channel. You know what? You can follow it because I'm gonna be putting some stuff out, and there's some information on there
He
that's
would have the
that's
best
valuable.
YouTube channel. I don't know why he doesn't.
It's just my name, Ryan Rosas. There's 2 of them. If you're smart, you'll figure it out. You
Right.
can watch both of them.
He only wants smart people to find him.
Yeah, if you're not smart, you can get smarter by figuring it out. There's only 2.
Solve the goddamn riddle.
Love you all.
Solve the riddle, man. He solved the riddle.